Hi friends, today I want to share with you about hydrotherapy. Now, God has provided in nature different remedies that we can use for better health or to help us with diseases or whatever we are suffering from. So the remedies in nature that God has provided are fresh air, sunshine, water, and He has provided some great herbs that we can use sometimes against certain diseases, and He has provided wonderful healing foods. But today I want to concentrate on the water treatments. But all the treatments really are available almost to everyone, and these natural treatments, they can easily be incorporated to any treatment that you're doing against any disease. And they are very inexpensive. In some parts of the world, they are the only remedies that are there available for healing, and they have the big advantage that they are very effective. Natural remedies really very effective. Now, let's talk about the water, because that's what we will be dealing with today. We can use the water externally, but we can also use it internally. I have explained that in another presentation. If you go to the internal cleansing, there I'm speaking about it. Now, externally, we use water hopefully for a daily bath. Now, there are some parts in the world where the climate is very temperate and people don't take a daily bath. They believe it's not necessary, but even if you don't sweat, you need to have your daily bath. We usually copy the habits of the world, which are not very good. Usually we take our daily bath in the evening. It may be necessary if we have been sweating during the day or if we got dirty during the day, we need the bath at night, no doubt about that then. But it is very important to take a bath in the morning, because your body, if you have not been digesting all night long, then your body during the night will be detoxing. And the skin is one of the exits for your acids and toxins. And so in the morning when we get up, our whole skin will be covered with acids and toxins. If we then don't take the shower but go to work right away, then during the day, the skin will reabsorb all these acids and toxins. So make sure that you get your bath in the morning. There are some other things that we can use to really keep our skin nice and functioning perfectly. We can use some hard brushes and brush the skin. And we can, after the shower, brush with a special brush to defoil our skin. All these things we can do it, and they are very necessary and very healthy. Also, when we take our daily shower, we will wash out the pores, because we have all these pores on our skin and the dust get in there. And we need to take a good shower to get all these dirt out. The next thing that we use water for is for washing our clothes. Now, there we also love to copy the world, because we use all these tons of detergents and fabric softeners and deodorants and nice smelling chemicals in there. But in truth, all these are chemicals, and they will be absorbed by the clothes, and we make sure that the softeners and these perfumes that we put in there, that all that stuff stays in our fabrics, because the rinsing later on does not really take it out. So it stays in there, and then we put it in the dryer, and when it comes out there, it still smells nice. Well, it's a nice smell, but the problem is that all these chemicals are toxic. And then if we use all these detergents and toxins to treat our clothing, they will be in the fabric, and then it will be in contact with our skin all day long, and we're going to absorb these things. So we need to be really careful that we use the water in the most natural way possible. We can use the water as a remedy. We can use the water as a remedy, for example, against pain. We can use it if we have, let's say, a sprained ankle. You can treat that with water. Usually you would treat it at the beginning with cold water. So water has fantastic healing advantages. And the good thing with water is that it doesn't have any side effects. Well, it does have some side effects, but they are not negative. They are fantastic side effects, because if you do treatments with water, you will absorb quite a bit of water through your skin, and so it will help to hydrate. So the side effects that we have with water treatments are very positive, not negative. It's very easy to apply water treatments, because we can put extremities into a little local bath, or we can put our whole body into a bathtub. So it's not difficult to apply water treatments. Then they don't have or don't produce any toxic waste, like, for example, the medications do. If you have a headache, if you do a hot foot bath to relieve the headaches, it's much better than using a tablet, because if you use a pill, it will leave very toxic residues in your body. You don't have the problem with water. And instead of leaving residues in the body, the water rather helps you to get rid of toxins, which is a wonderful, one of the wonderful healing effects of the water. Now, one of the most common water treatments, or hydrotherapy treatments, as it is also called, is the contrast bath. It's really a very simple thing. There are not many things that we need. All we need is a couple of containers, if you have a chair, and if not, you can even stand in there. And you can put your extremities in there. If we do a contrast bath, that means that we do a bath with hot water and then with cold water. So that's why we need two containers here. We can also do a treatment for our hands or even for the arm, but we also will need two containers there. Besides that, you will need a pitcher with cold water or even with ice or ice water, and you want to have a tea kettle, or nowadays we use these electric water pot that heat the water electrically. You want to have that, because when you do the treatment, the temperature of the water may cool down, or the cold water may heat up. So you want to cool it down again, or the hot water, you want to heat it up again. And then you need a towel, so that you have all the tools together. Now, what does the water treatment do? It acts on our blood vessels. This is here a blood vessel. This is the lining of the blood vessel, and this here is the center where the blood is flowing. Now, if we put an extremity, or even the whole body too, if we put it in hot water, then the heat has a dilating effect. It will dilate, it will widen the blood vessel, and a lot of blood will shoot into that area that has been heated up. And when a lot of blood comes to the area, then we also get a lot of nutrients and oxygen and cells that have been produced in other parts of the body that are transported to an injured area. So the blood brings all these healing remedies to the area where it is needed, when the blood vessel is dilated. Then we put the extremity or the whole body into cold water, and that has a reducing effect. It has, what's it called again in English? It's dilating, and it's a constricting effect. So here we can see that the ice has a constricting effect. The passage for the blood has been reduced. And when that happens, now before the blood vessel was wide and there was a lot of blood, now it constricts and then it pushes the blood out of the area. And if we then go back into hot water, the blood shoots into the area again. And so the dilating and the constraining effect of the hot and cold works almost like a pump. It pumps the blood into the area and it pumps it out to the area. And that has a tremendous healing effect for our any extremity that has been damaged, that is infected, or whatever you want to do a treatment against. Here we can see, for example, we're using different kinds of containers. We have a smaller round container for our feet, for example, and if you want to do the whole arm or the lower part of the arm or your elbow, then you'll need a little bit more containers, a little bit more longer, these plastic containers that we usually use nowadays that are very easily available. And we always need to make sure that we have cold and water and hot water, boiling water available to adjust always the temperature of the water. Now, we can use these kind of treatments for infections, for example, because we pump blood in and we pump the blood out very fast, and we'll bring a lot of nutrients, oxygen, water, and healing materials to the area that is infected. We can also use it against injury of muscles or joints. That's very good. If you have a strained ankle, you don't want to do at the beginning the contrast bath, but after 24 hours after the injury, you can use the contrast bath for a healing. While you injure it, at that very moment, you want just to do a cold treatment. You want to use ice or very cold water so that the blood won't shoot into the injured area and that we can avoid the inflammation. These kind of treatment, the contrast bath, is also very good against arthritis. And the good thing is it does not have the side effects. As I said already before, we won't accumulate toxins on top of the toxins in our body, because arthritis is always a result of toxemia and also of acidosis. And if we use medications, we are going to increase the toxemia. And so it will help against the pain, but it doesn't help against arthritis at all. We can also use it for against bone fractures. Now, when we have a bone fracture, we can usually only use a cold treatment at the very beginning, and then if the bone is really fractured, then you will usually get a cast and you won't be able to do a water treatment there. But if at all possible, if you can get to the area with a treatment, then it would work fantastic because it will speed up the healing process. Also, we can use the contrast bath against swelling of our feet, of our legs, swelling of our arms, or whatever is swelling, because it will increase the circulation in these areas, and that will help us against a swelling. Now, let's look again, so we make sure we know all the tools that we need. I mentioned them already. We need 2 containers if we want to do a contrast bath. 2 containers. The easiest one to obtain right now are these plastic containers, and they are probably even better than these old time metal containers. I don't know what they were made from, like zinc or something like that, because it sometimes starts rusting and can contaminate the water. So I would prefer the plastic bowls. The amount of toxins that they would leach into the water is really minimal, because the water will be in there only for a very short time. Then we need an electric heater here, electric water heater that we got here, to have boiling water to increase the water in the hot part. And we want a pitcher with cold water or ice cubes or whatever to lower down the temperature in the pail in the container with the cold water. Now, I would like you to be very careful if you increase the temperature in the container with the hot water. Don't pour the hot water in there when you got the feet in there or hands or arm in there. Take it out and then fill in the hot water, and make sure that you check the temperature before you put your feet in there again, so that you won't burn yourself. And we definitely need a towel. Now, each treatment that has to do with hot, every hot treatment should always finish with a cold treatment, because when we do a hot treatment, all our pores will open, they will dilate. And if we come out of a hot treatment, take feet out of a hot contrast bath and don't put them into the cold water, then we will lose a lot of heat through the pores, and we could affect our health. We could catch a cold or whatever. And so we always want to finish whatever treatment we do. If it is hot, we always finish with cold water or ice water. And after that, we want immediately to dry the area or the whole body if we do a whole body treatment. So these are the tools that we need. Now, we have these 2 plastic containers here. They are fantastic for the treatments that we want to do. And once we finish with the treatment, any hydrotherapy or water treatment that you do, you always want to make sure that yourself, if you did it to yourself or the person that you've been doing it to, that they get at least a 30 minutes rest to really take advantage of all the advantages that you get from these kind of treatments. We need to have some precautions with the contrast bath. Use warm and cold baths when there is loss of feeling. Now, this we can do it if there's loss of feeling. It will increase the feeling in the area. But if we have hands or feet with little feeling and we want to put them in the hot water, we may not feel that the water is burning us. So there is a very simple way. If you don't have a thermometer to check the water, because in a contrast bath, the hot water should be around 104 to 108 degrees Fahrenheit. And so we don't have a thermometer to measure the temperature of the water. You can use your elbow. And the part of your elbow that is very sensitive is this inner part here. If you can keep this inner part of your elbow comfortably in the water, then you know that it is not too hot. So let's always check the temperature that we won't burn anybody, especially when they have a lack of sensitivity. Now, also when we have poor circulation, then the extremities get very cold, and we also have a loss of feeling. We don't notice at the very moment that the water is very hot, and by the time we notice it, we may have burned ourselves already. And then we have to be very careful with diabetics, because diabetics lose very easily their sensitivity in feet or hands. So let's always check the water and make sure that we won't burn anybody with it. Now, if we treat an infection like the one that we saw before in the picture, then we should be sure that we disinfect our equipment after use, so that we will not contaminate somebody else with the germs from the infection that we have just treated. And it's always good to disinfect the equipment. Now, I would not recommend to use, like on this picture here, it says, like, I think it is Clorox or something like that. I would not recommend to use chlorine or chlor. Don't use that, because it is very toxic itself. If you want to disinfect something, use vinegar. Vinegar is not that toxic, but it is very toxic to germs if it gets in contact with them. It's so effective that they even use it in the hospital to clean the tables and the floors and everything. So use vinegar to disinfect your equipment. And then here we can see this little lady here is doing again a treatment for an injury in her wrist. It's great. Now, if you are out in some countries where you have like snakes, well, here in the United States we also have snakes in the southern parts of the country, or we have venomous spiders, then we can also use these baths, these for hydrotherapy, for trying to get the toxins out. What you can do then is you just add a cupful of activated charcoal to this water, and then you leave the injured extremity for about half an hour in the charcoal water. That will also help us as a first aid remedy, let's say, because I would not say not to take the the patient to the doctor. If it's possible, take him to the doctor with these venomous bites, because they may have some some injections that can help against these toxins. And then here is the contrast shower. Now, the contrast shower is very important, and I would like to expand on it a little bit. Now, usually people just take their hot shower in the morning and then they get out of the shower. You should never, never do that. You should always finish with a cold shower, and as cold as possible, as cold as you can take it or as cold as you can get it. Because you want to close your pores in your skin so that you don't lose all the heat that you have accumulated during the hot shower. The other thing is, when you do these contrast showers, as soon as you have these cold water getting in contact with your hot body, the system will immediately start to produce white blood cells. So your immune system will be fortified when you do these contrast showers. We have some other cases where we can even extend the contrast showers. Not just do the shower and then end with a cold shower. We could have go back to a hot and then back to cold and back to hot and back to cold. And you can do at the beginning, if you're not used to it or if it's difficult for you, then do 2 or 3 minutes hot water and then do half a minute to a minute cold water, and then repeat the whole process. Now, this is wonderful if you have body pains or aches, or if you have rashes or things like that. It helps very much when you use these contrast showers. Also, if you are addicted to coffee, if you don't sleep well at night and you have the habit to drink coffee in the morning in order to get your system going, instead of using the coffee, you can use the hot and cold contrast baths, because it will really get your system going. And once you are used to it, then you don't need to do a 3-minute and a 1-minute hot and cold. You can go fast, hot and then cold and hot and cold. Change it as fast as you can change it in your bath, and it will really vitalize your energy and your whole body. Now, there was a gentleman, Sir Alexander Fleming. I believe he was an Englishman, that's why he is called Sir. And he invented the penicillin. I don't know how to pronounce it in English. He invented the penicillin. But he did not only invent the penicillin, because he was working in this area of antibiotics. He found out that the fluid in our nose, it's called lysozyme, that the fluids in our nose contain a lysozyme, which is a very potent antibiotic, and especially when the environment in your nose is acidic, which it should be. And so if we do hydrotreatments, then we can increase the secretion of fluids in our nose, and it can help us to prevent a cold or a flu. And again, you can use the hot and cold showers, the contrast showers, to provoke these secretion in your nose. The daily bath, well, on a daily basis, we should be doing these contrast showers. Personally, I've been doing these contrast showers now for probably 30 years. And I just can't get out of the shower without taking a cold shower. In fact, right now, we are recording here in Tennessee, in the southern part of Tennessee, and we're in autumn here, but it's still so warm that I don't use hot water at all to take the shower, because it makes me feel so good if I take a cold shower, because the water is not yet very cold in this area, not even the cold water. Now, when you want to do these contrast baths on a daily basis, if you're not used to it like I am, then what you can do is take first a hot shower and take it until you feel really hot, like you're really desiring these cold shower. So you load up you accumulate a lot of heat in your body, and then you go and you do these cold shower. Okay, start with the hot shower, and then use your soap, and while you do the hot shower, use your soap and everything and cleanse your body really nice. What I like to do is I got like a kind of a round plastic brush with very hard teeth, and I wrap up my whole body under the hot water with it, because it's wonderful to defoil our. Oh. No, I know I can't do it, but did I turn it off?
No,
oh,
you can't
I
do
got
that. You're getting too excited.
That's right, I forget that I'm...
Just rub your stomach.
Yeah, okay.
Remember, not in the exercise room.
All right, get going.
Okay, you have to go one side back.
Okay, so this is the hot part of the shower when we accumulate heat in our body. And then in that part of the hot shower, we also want to use the soap and clean well our skin. And what I do is I use a plastic, it's like a plastic dish. It's round with some pretty hard teeth, plastic teeth, and I rub my whole body up with it. And it is fantastic to defoil your skin. When I'm done with it, my whole skin looks red. When you do that, at the beginning, don't do it so hard that you will injure your skin and maybe getting an infection or so. Be careful, but I've been doing this for decades now, and so I really need it because it vigorates my skin. Okay, and then we want to switch to the cold water and take the cold shower before we get out of the shower. And also when we take this cold shower, it's good if you use your hands and rub the cold water in all over your body, so that you really make sure you close all the pores in your skin. You can do the hot shower for about 3 minutes, and then 30 to 60 seconds you do the cold shower. Well, I explained that already at the beginning, but it's good to repeat it so that you will remember. And then we will always finish with the cold shower. Then, if you are used to it, then you can take a cold shower like I do when it's not too cold outside. I don't want to freeze in the shower. You don't want to do that. But also, if you can't do that yet, then take a hot and cold shower and switch it as fast as possible, as fast as the shower will permit you to do it. and you can do that 3 to 5 times. I usually would recommend do it 6 times, because you don't have to do the 3 minutes and 60 seconds. You don't have it to do that much. Once you are used to it, at the beginning, yes, you want to start out with this, but then you can do it faster. And then if you've done the treatment, not if you take your daily shower in the morning and end with a cold shower, that doesn't mean that you should go back to bed now. No, don't get me wrong. It's only if you do the treatment, hot and cold shower treatment for 6 times, and then if you do it during the day, and then you want to lay down for about 30 minutes, take a rest, so that you the effect of these treatments will be much stronger than if you keep going immediately. These treatments really, they can be used all over the world. There's no part where in the world practically where you can't use water, fresh air, or sunshine for treatment for diseases. And when we do these natural treatments, then we should also remember that God has given us natural laws of health. Just as He has made the laws to govern the whole universe, He has made laws to govern our health. And let's have a look at them. There we have first the nutrition. We need to eat healthy, wholesome foods. Now, stay away from any food that comes from a factory. If the food doesn't come from a farm, it shouldn't enter really your home. Even we should not buy bread, because if we buy bread in the supermarket, nowadays wheat bread, you cannot eat it anymore. It has been destroyed already by the devil has put some ingredients into the wheat that we can't eat it anymore. And even if you buy bread in a store, it doesn't only have wheat in there, it also has usually vinegar in there, which is a terrible poison because it will kill all the microbes, all the good bacteria in your guts. And so we can't use anything that comes from a factory, much less canned foods, because canned foods is a poison, 100%. Then drinking plenty of water is another law of health, because our body is about 65 to 70% water. So we need to replace that water constantly. Then we need to do outdoors exercise, not only indoors. Do the exercise outdoors so you enjoy the fresh air and hopefully the sunshine. We need to be abstinent. We need to avoid everything that is toxic for us. And we need to get the proper rest. Very few people today understand the need of proper rest. We need to trust in God, because if we can't trust in God, we will get in such a tremendous stress that we won't be able to handle good health. Our good health will just break down because of the stress, because we don't trust that God is with us and that He can help us with any adverse thing that's coming. Now, water treatment is, as a remedy, is even biblical. Here we got Naaman, the Syrian leader of the Syrian army. When he got sick a little, he had lepra, and there was this little Jewish girl that was serving in his home, and she told him that there was a prophet in in Israel that would be able to help him, to heal him, because she knew that God can heal any disease. And so he came to see the prophet, and the prophet told him, you go over there in the river and dip in the river and you'll be healed. So he had to dip 7 times into the water. And he did get healed. Because if we do what God has recommended us, has told us to do, then we can be assured that God will heal us. Because we have these wrong impression that if we go to a doctor, the doctor will heal us. That's not true. No doctor can heal you, and no medication can heal you either. It will only cover up symptoms, that's all. Because doctors don't even deal with the cause of the disease, they will only deal with the symptom of a disease. All right, so if God tells you, and He has told us what to do against diseases, and then He will take away from us the diseases. And here we see Naaman being healed and driving back home to his people. Let him come now to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Israel. That's the prophet Isaiah, who said, who told the king that, because Naaman went to the king because he thought the king would be able to help him, the king of Israel, but it wasn't so. It's in 2 Kings chapter 5 and verse 8. And Naaman came and he dipped 7 times in the Jordan and he was healed. It's a very interesting story. And the same thing will happen when we obey God, because God has given us the example and He has given us the information that we should use simple water treatments to heal our diseases. And so if we do it, if we obey God's instructions and we do all these things, we will perfectly be able to heal our diseases. Water treatment is very simple and it is very easy to apply, and I hope that soon you'll start to do some water treatments in your home, because as soon as you've done it once, you'll keep doing it for the rest of your life, because it's so effective and so inexpensive. God bless you. I'll see you next time.